Welcome to Enots Engineering. I'm Alan. In today's video we're looking at a Bernard 3-jaw chuck. This is a self-centering chuck with the option of being able to true or recenter a part that's in the jaws. I find this very useful when you need to get something running really accurately in a chuck. We'll strip it down and have a look how it works. So let's go into the workshop and see how we do it. This is my Bernard griptru chuck, which I use on the Boxford. Self-centering 3 jaws, but on this here, on each jaw, you have an extra screw that you can adjust the jaw position. So what I want to do is take this off, we'll strip it down and see how it works. It's a 4-inch 3-jaw self-centering chuck. But the difference with this is you can realign the centre. If whatever you put in there is running out slightly, you can true it up. So that's why it's called a griptru. The way it does that, it moves the chuck on this separate back plate to true up the part. So this is the original back plate which every chuck would have to fit to your headstock, and this one in the middle here is a second back plate that can move to true the chuck up so that the part's running true. So what we'll do is take this apart and see how it works. First of all, we take the chuck jaws out. You just unscrew the jaws till they come off the end of the scroll. Once they stop moving, they should all be free to pull the jaws out. Each jaw is numbered. See there, this is number 1, and that will fit in number 1 slot. Just the same as a standard 3-jaw chuck. The next thing I'll do is remove the back plate. This one, the back plate's held on with 3 cap heads. Take that off. Now if you look at the back of this, you have another 3 cap heads, and this is for the second back plate. So if I undo this, the first thing to notice is that the screws for the second back plate are longer. So I'll take these off. The next thing to do is undo. I don't think you'll get the back plate off, it's still tight. That's because you've got some adjuster screws on the side. Next to each chuck key is an adjuster screw. I'll just slacken these off. And you can see these adjuster screws are tapered, hexagon in the one end, taper there, and a thread on the other end. And there's one of those for each jaw. The back plate should come off. You see how this works. There are 3 bosses where the adjuster screw runs against, and it just pushes this back plate to one side or the other. Inside there you have your normal chuck jaw screw mechanism. To take that out, I need to take each chuck key gear out, and there's a screw in there that holds each chuck key gear. So with a screwdriver, just remove each pin. The pins are just straight pin with a thread on the end, and that drops into a slot. Slacken the others off. Once you take the one out, the other should come out easily. And there's the three. What I'm doing is keeping them together the way they came out. So in the back there, there's a gear, and that should come out now. This part should just tip out, and that's the chuck. This part's the scroll that moves your jaws in and out, and this looks fairly clean. I'll just give this a clean out and bring it back. Right, I've wiped down and cleaned and oiled the parts. Put the jaw scroll in. Then each part you can reassemble the chuck key screw. If you use the chuck key, it'll push it back in, and then place the retaining screw that stops the gear coming out. Turn it round for the next. Go straight in. Retaining screw, and the final one. I use the chuck key just to guide it, put some pressure on, and go straight in once you've aligned it. And then the third retaining screw. This screw stops this part coming out when it's revolving. And this is what the adjustment screws on the side do. They just locate in there, and as you tighten it in, it pushes this down. So if you tighten that one in, you need to slacken these off until you're getting close, and then you just make sure each one has a bit of load on it so it can't move. And this goes on the top. But once you have those on, you put the three cap heads in. These are the longer cap heads. I have put some oil on it. Tighten these down. Then you can put the back plate on. The line lines up. And three cap heads for the back plate. Now I'll tighten these up tight once I've held it in the the lathe so I can get some force on the back plate screw. And the last thing to go is replace the adjusters. Go through the side. I'll turn this in until it just touches. And then I'll have to true the chuck up once I put these in. You'll see that one has already come into contact and it's not home yet. So I'll slacken the other one off. That should go in a bit further. Next job is to put the jaws back in. You can see down there the thread just coming in. So I'll put the jaw in. And holding the jaw in, just turn the chuck key until it engages. Then go around to the next one. Now I should be able to tighten that. And the final check, all the jaws should be level with the outside of the chuck when I screw it in. And that jaw is just level, that one's level, that one's level. So they're all on the right thread. So I'll go and fit that back on the lathe. Hold the spindle lock on, tap the chuck. What I want to do is set the chuck true, so I've put some silver steel in the chuck, get my dial indicator set up, switch it on. You can see that's running out 3 thou. Each one of those divisions on there is 1/10. What I'm going to do now is, that's the low point there, tighten this one, and it's getting hard to tighten because the others are tight as well. So I want to slack that one off a bit. By tightening the lowest reading, you can get the part to run true. There's a little bit on that and a bit on this one. I'll move the indicator along. Yeah. It's going up. It's probably the lowest one, this one. That's less than 1/10. I can't see any movement when I move it by hand. Might be a mark on the bar. Let me move the dial indicator. It's about 1/10. So normally now I could use it as an ordinary 3-jaw chuck, and if I need anything to be running exactly true, dead on, I can adjust it. So that's the Bernard griptru chuck. Oh well, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope that was useful, and we'll see you next time on Enots Engineering.